Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. This is for March 7th. So, first of all, I just want to send out some warm thoughts to the people in California who have been buried in snow. Um, Dig out safely and stay safe and warm. This is just another indicator of the damage that is being done to the earth and the earth's way of kind of rebelling. I don't know where I heard it from or when I heard it. It was years ago. But I remember somebody saying, every living thing is sort of infused with the need to survive. It will do what it needs to do to survive. Every living being has this instinct. And what we forget is that the earth is a living organism and will have the same instincts. And since we're sort of surface visitors, it would behoove us to continue to really do what needs to be done to try to balance the climate within the province, or sorry, within the country. Okay, so enough chit chat. I want to do a universe, what do you have to tell me kind of reading today. Um, I wanted to focus on a sort of U.S. politics and what's going on right now. Apparently, over the weekend, the the Republicans had their CPAC meeting or whatever convention, whatever the heck that is. Um, and, apparently there was a battle between Ron DeSantis and Trump. Um, and, Carrie Lake's out there mouthing off. And, anyways, so I'm just going to stop rambling because the energy is really scattered. And I'm just going to let Spirit take it away. So, Spirit, what would you most like us to know, remember, understand, or have clarity on at this time, particularly with regards to U.S. politics, but certainly any other insights or guidance that needs to come forward? Please allow it to do so at this time. So, the first thing that they want you to remember that they're saying is that there's a lot of time between now and the next election. And a lot of things are going to shift and change. Now, you all know, any of you who've been watching me for a while know that this astrology stuff, in one ear, out the other, explodes my head if I try to think about it too much. But we have a full moon today in Virgo. I think this is the day that Saturn moves into Pisces for, I think, about the next 3 years. So Saturn in Pisces is going to bring some shifts. Spirit, what can you tell us about that in terms of sort of the overall um, energy as we move forward into this new energy? And that's not the only one. There's like 4 outside planets that are shifting and moving in really significant ways. So they're saying 2023 and 2024 in particular, you're going to notice some significant changes. So one of the things that you're going to notice is, Saturn is a planet of sort of restrictions and discipline. It's a planet of responsibility, of ownership. And um, Pisces is the sign of a whole bunch of other things, but one of the things that it does represent is sort of confusion and disillusionment and fantasy and that kind of area. So what you're going to have when these two come together is there's going to be a continued push, but an intensification of the push to bring responsibility and ownership to that which has been, or that which is fantasy or disillusionment or misinformation. So over the next while, you can anticipate seeing a lot of people who were involved in, for example, the big lie, sort of being called to task and held responsible for that. You're going to see this in other places and in other governments where there have been lies. There's just not another way to put it. Where there has been disinformation, you're going to see a sort of an energy of responsibility coming in and ensuring that people are held responsible. So this also would include, the wannabe czar who resides in Russia. You know, there's just an energy that's coming along that says it's time to own up, it's time to be responsible, and it's time to move forward because one of the other things that the Piscean energy brings with it is heightened intuition, compassion, um, making dreams come true, um, humanitarianism. There's a huge umbrella of those higher vibration energies that are moving into place. And that is really where the energy of you, me, and all of the light workers needs to focus on those higher vibration energies and not allowing um, people to get sucked into or trapped into the panic and the anxiety connected with the lower vibration energies because frankly as the Republicans pick up and start to try to gain some momentum, which is really hard for them, right? Because you've got um, Kevin McCarthy, just like a disaster personified. You have some of these mega crazies, still continuing to try to push this stolen election theory, and that's not going over very well. So you're going to see as the Republicans start to ramp up, there's going to be a lot of fear mongering going on. There's going to be a lot of um, it's a way, there's a communication style that has evolved or devolved um, as a result of the former um, the former guy. So he he really made famous the sort of idea of this and I know this and we all know this. And so what it does is if you're talking about people who don't know and maybe aren't informed, when he says, this, you automatically sort of fall into line because you want to be one of those people in the know. And this is a strategy that has really, really taken root. And so you're going to see more of this. You're going to see it particularly with Trump as he continues. And make no mistake, Trump is running at this point out of abject fear of jail. Okay, make no mistake about it. He wants this thing to drag out long enough so that he can become the presumptive nominee, so that all of the investigations have to take a back seat because he's running for president. And he, God heaven forbid, you can't interfere with that. So that's why he's running. You've got Ron DeSantis, who is determined to take the entire country back into, well, maybe in some cases, the 1950s, but in some cases, the flippin' 1800s. And so there's a problem there because he is not progressive at all. But what he is doing is he is feeding into people's fears. Um, you know, he focuses on your livelihood being taken away, your sense of authority or autonomy being taken away, the government interfering in how you raise your children or run your family. And so be mindful that as the light work intensifies and increases, like starting today, and going forward for a long time, um, there needs to be a focus on keeping our intentions at a higher vibration, simply not allowing yourself to get sort of dragged into that fearful energy because it is not helpful at all. So there's that. As March rolls into April, which will roll into May and June, that is where you're going to see a real uptick in the awareness of some of the stuff that the Biden administration has implemented. You know, a lot of that shovels into the ground is scheduled to start, in this time frame. And so that's going to be somewhat helpful in a lot of ways to calm down some of the it's almost like the disinformation that the right is being able to get away with. This sort of, he's taken your jobs, he's ruined your livelihood, etc. That's going to um, start shifting. Now, they're just allowing me to dip a little bit forward, and they're saying there are still some really significant pieces, whether it is of legislation but there's some significant pieces of the Biden agenda that have not yet been addressed, that have not yet come kind of full circle. And so, as the next, year and a half, whatever it is, move forward, you're going to see um, sort of there's going to be like another polarization. Well, that's unfortunate. Why are you telling us that? Um, but you're going to see this is really where you get into that struggle between the light and the darker, the higher vibrations and the lower vibrations, because they're going to really start hitting loggerheads. And this is where energetically, this causes people to sort of wake up, kind of alert, pay attention to what is actually going on around them so that those people who are still disconnected, and that's okay because people have busy lives, but as a lot of this stuff really starts to come forward in a significant way, you're going to see a refocusing on not what is the government taking away from me, but what is the government doing for me and what has the government done for me. And so, for a lot of Democrats and a lot of independents, and frankly, some Republicans, that is going to become a really, really important message as opposed to some of the crazy that you are going to continue to hear coming from the right. Okay, what else do we want to what else would you like to share with us at this time? You can anticipate. Hmm, it feels like there's going to be some talk around Trump's health, about his cognitive health, but also around some physical health. I'm actually seeing members of his family sort of converging um, around him. So I don't think this is a dying. Um, and I'm not even sure if this is a something horrible and terrible health wise, but there's definitely an energy of some dis-ease or discomfort within the body. I am guessing it probably has to do with the additional levels of stress that he is under, living in a state of terror and fear. Um, that is a kind of stress that he is actually not used to. He's used to living in chaos. It's his favorite thing, it's his best thing. But when it actually comes to, like, bone liquefying terror, that there are going to be pictures of him running around in an orange jumpsuit. That is a level of stress that his body is actually really struggling to figure out how to assimilate, work with, deal with. And it's a very significant level. So that's going to be probably a bit of an issue going forward for him. For those of you concerned, they're telling me that John Fetterman is going to go through a little bit of or is going through a little bit of a bump with his health, but it does not look like it is going to, at this point, cause him to consider, or in fact, kind of resign from his position. I mean, worst case scenario, even if he does, there's a Democratic governor in that state, and so another Democrat will be put into place. But at this point, it feels like he's going to be able to sort of come through this. It certainly may impact a second run, but for right now, they're telling me he's sticking. More and more, there are going to be investigations into election interference. I know that there has been a kerfuffle here in Canada, and the RCMP are now apparently investigating election interference in the last election. You're going to be hearing more and more of this other countries as things come about. There is going to be a time, it's down the road a little bit, but there is going to be a time where there is like a price to be paid. Responsibility must be taken for those behaviors. And you're going to see, it feels like a increased, almost tightening of security, um, so that that kind of interference is not as easy to accomplish. More safeguards and firewalls and that kind of thing, because you know when they this is it, when another country can understand, can figure out um, what is going to cause most people to react and turn in a certain direction. Those are always fear based responses. And that is what they are relying on and depending on creating. And because we react so strongly to lower vibration or fear emotions, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of work to counterbalance that. Um, I want you to think about this, and I'm not sure that I have the number correct, but it will give you a good enough idea of what I'm saying. Apparently, for every negative thought we hold, it takes a minimum of 7 positive thoughts to cancel that negative thought. So every time you do something, you go, oh my God, am I ever stupid? Why did I do that? 7 times. You have to tell yourself, no, you're not. You are smart. You are clever. You have handled this. That's a lot of positive reinforcement. And as a society, we are not skilled at doing that. And that's how come light workers have a big job, because it's really hard to hold the light with so much of this low vibration sort of fog scurrying around our existences. So the next while is really going to be about um, maintaining that higher vibration. Okay, and that is what that we're going to end it there today. This is going to be a part one, because they also want to talk about um, how we work with and handle those energies, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this one. I'm going to thank you ever so much for being here. Thank you for your thumbs up and your comments. I love them all. I appreciate it so much. To my new subscribers, thank you so much for being here, and welcome. And I look forward to seeing you all again on Friday. Until next time, take care and be well. We'll see you really soon. Bye bye.